everybody, and welcome back to 31 Days of Indie Horror. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I'm here with
Captain Mango.
Captain Mango is here. All right, a pirate to talk
Al-
about a pirate horror movie. You know,
Also known as Jesse L. Green in
yeah.
real life.
Oh, in real, well, I mean, I don't
Not
know. You
sure.
could be Captain Mango in real life.
Actually, Jonathan, I don't know anymore. I don't know which one's real life.
I know, right? Because I mean, you're always in your pirate costume all the time, right?
Yeah, a
Ha-
lot.
Have you ever fallen asleep in your pirate costume?
Um, I would say yes, but because of alcohol.
Oh, okay. You're like passed out. All
Yeah.
right.
They say you've never lived until you've passed out from drinking in a pirate costume.
I never heard that expression, and now
Yeah.
it'll be
That
burned
might
in
just
my
be
head.
that might just be among pirates.
Right. Yeah, perfect. Well, we are here to talk about Ship of the Damned, a 2024 film. So it just came out earlier
Yeah.
this year, I think around February. Or no, April, I think. Something like
Yeah,
that.
I think
In that
April, yeah.
April. And had you ever heard of it before?
No.
No? Well, it popped up on Tubi, and I was like, "Ooh, it looks like a pirate movie." So I looked into it and I said, "Oh, it is a pirate movie. Okay, good." I'm gonna, and I could have got anybody to do this. I got was it Amanda Megan to do Killer Mermaid, and I should have got, and I thought about it, I should have gotten Chris O'Brien. What
Yeah,
was I
that would have been
thinking?
good. Yeah, that
Yeah,
would have
he
been
could have been
good.
dressed. I didn't even think about it when I was doing it. I was just picking things and I said mermaids, sure, But
Yeah.
then later I think it hit me that I should have asked Chris and I didn't, Mermaid Christian, and I didn't. And so I was kind of upset about that later. And I was like, well, I don't want to make that mistake again. If I do a pirate movie, I want to get somebody who's into pirates or who is a pirate,
Yeah,
and
I don't know.
whatnot.
I don't know. You're going to find too many people that are more into piracy than what I am.
I know.
You
There
know,
you
it's
go.
I've taken pirates into uh, the biking community, biking festivals. Um,
Wait, do pirates fight Vikings? Do the pirates fight the Vikings?
what the bikers,
Oh, bikers, biking.
bikers. Did
Okay.
I say biking? Yeah,
No,
bikers.
you probably said biking, and I heard Viking in my head, and I was
Yeah, and
like,
you
that would
think
be
about it.
crazy.
You think about it. Bikers nowadays and pirates back then are probably cut out of the same mold.
Well, yeah, they're the modern pirates, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
But I mean,
um,
I took myself in the Blue Pearl to bike shows where there had never been pirates before,
that's
and
awesome.
I had mermaids with me, and and all of that. So
That is awesome. All right, so we're gonna talk about this movie. So it's 2024. Production company is called Creative Studios. They've done a bunch of movies with, I guess the main person who runs it, I'm guessing, is Steve Lawson. He's the director of this film, so I'm guessing he's the one who runs the company, or like, he kind of helps run it or whatever, because it seems like all the projects are his films, that they've, made, which is
yeah,
awesome, So he's
yeah,
producing a lot of stuff. He did like Ripper Untold, which I guess is like Dracula Untold, but with Jack the Ripper instead. And then there was like another Ripper movie that he made, and then Haunting on at Alcatraz, things like that. And they're a British company. And so I've been noticing that there are a lot more British companies getting made doing indie horror. I didn't even know that this was British until I started hearing the English accents, and
yeah, yeah,
very authentic English accents. They weren't somebody from America pretending to be British. They were you know, uh very authentic. And I loved it.
About 6 months ago, something like that. I was contacted when we met down in D.C. We weren't sure how either one of us found out about the other, but a guy named Oaken, a director, I guess, and producer in Belfast, Ireland.
Hmm.
And we somehow got together, and I'm going to be in his newest movie. and I just talked to him last week, and it's my part is already edited, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling me that he's got another movie next year that he wants to shoot in Belfast, and wanted to know if I'd come over there and be in it. And I'm like, yeah,
Trip to Belfast? Why not, right? You know,
yeah. I'll tell him to book me.
Pirates in Ireland.
I'll tell him to book me. Um, book my flight like 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after, so that I can get there, shoot the movie, and then I'll be on my own for 2 weeks
Nice.
and fly
You're gonna
back
be
home.
traveling, yeah, you'll be traveling around
Yeah.
Ireland and checking it out and enjoying
But
yourself.
we all know in the movie industry, I'm not packing my bag yet.
Man,
You
hey,
know,
yeah, I mean, unless you have like a company like this that seems to be turning out movies like, almost like more than one a year, you're pretty much not exactly, until the money is there. And
yeah,
even then, because I knew a guy in Hollywood that was working on uh was a Mad Max movie and years ago, before Fury Road and stuff. He was gonna be in a new Mad Max movie. He was gonna be one of the villains in a new Mad Max movie, and he was so excited. He couldn't wait to do it. And then funding fell through. On a freaking Mad Max money, like Mad Max movie, the
yeah.
funding fell through. Like, can you believe that? Like, you would think
But
that that,
it
that wouldn't
really,
happen.
I mean, movies that just don't get made for funding or loss of interest or whatever doesn't bother me as much, as the movies that I go out and spend time on shooting the whole movie and
Hmm.
then they never come out.
Right.
That pisses me off because in the horror movie business, if we make any money, it's very little. It's pretty much a labor of love, you know. And so all these people go spend all their times 3, 4, 5, 6 weekends of their life, and then it gets done, and then never gets edited, never comes
Hmm.
out, and that pisses me off.
Hmm. No,
You
I
know, it's
totally get it.
a lot of work and volunteering of time, and at one time I'm almost at that, but at one time there was 12 or 13 movies that I had finished that just weren't coming out. And
Um,
I walked away from the business a little bit last year. And
I remember that because we had a talk about that. I was kind of sad that I heard you said you were leaving and everything because
well, you just get tired of putting your time and effort in, and you don't see the end product. You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
I get that. I have a project that's hopefully getting out next year that took about started in 2011. So let's just say that,
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it was part of a short film, and now it's going to be well, it's supposed to be bigger than that. It was supposed to be at first it was supposed to be a web series, then it got changed to a feature film, then now it's just a short
Yeah,
that's part of an anthology. Because we never got to finish it because um yeah, people put their time and their effort into working on it and paying money for it. But then people started leaving that I was supposed to work with, and people started moving, and I couldn't afford to
yeah,
bring them back out. All these like catastrophes, but we shot enough where I was like, we can get a short film done of it. It's called Echo Lake Massacre. It's hopefully going to be part of whatever. And then maybe if we feel like it, we'll make it into like we'll use that footage from that
yeah,
short and put it into a feature, make it into a feature
yeah,
and finish that. But like right now, just getting it out is our most important thing, especially because like yeah, when you put your time and stuff into everything and then nothing happens or we don't raise enough money to make the movie and so we never shoot the movie and then
yeah.
people get upset because well, you never finish anything. Well, it's because I don't have enough money to
Don't have
finish
enough money. Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
And people complain about that. And I'm just like, well, I mean, you can say whatever you want, you can start whatever crap you want to say, but like if I had like say 50 grand to shoot a movie, it would get done, you know. Sadly, nobody it's not like that in Hollywood. It's not that like that in the indie world anymore. People expect you to raise the 20 grand and then get nothing in return for it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
literally what it is like in the indie. You give, 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 and then you get nothing for it.
yeah.
And
Well, and I wish that I don't know how it could be done. It'd be a logistical nightmare, but I wish there was some kind of accountability for the money that's raised through like Indiegogo.
yeah.
If somebody raises $50,000 for a movie, they have to show that they spent that $50,000 on a move on that movie.
Well, I
You
mean,
know?
as long as the movie gets finished, if the movie never comes out and they
Yeah,
spent $50,000 on a movie, that's different. Most of my stuff only made like $200 or something. I'm still trying to fucking make them because of that. And it's
yeah.
and then you go and you spend stuff because you think you can make it, and then you just can't, you
Well,
know.
and I know how it works too. I've been self-employed basically all my life, so I know what write-offs are.
Hmm.
So if you're making a movie and you have $50,000, you can buy yourself a big screen TV for your house because you need it to watch the movie on.
Hmm.
When you edit it, or you can go out and buy yourself a couple $1,000 computer, or you can go out and buy yourself a van because you need some way to get equipment to the movie site. So, there's
Hmm.
always the money can be spent that it's not actually maybe spent on the movie.
For sure. Well, let's talk about this movie that
Okay,
we're
yeah,
here
let's
to talk
let's
about,
talk
Ship
about
of the
this.
Damned. So, it's your basic cursed pirate movie in a way. Like it's pretty basic. I mean, it's not really anything that hasn't been done before in some way or another, but I do like the idea that like originally I thought these were ghosts, you know?
Yeah,
And I was like, I thought you couldn't like because ghosts have specific things with them. Like generally speaking, you can't touch them. They can't
yeah,
touch
yeah,
you, stuff like
yeah,
that. So but a lot of these, I guess a lot of these movies have it where they're supernatural, where they can whatever. Well, this they're cursed. So they're cursed to kind of live forever, you know.
yeah. See, they say they can't go on land.
They can't go on land. They best I guess they stay the same age. Um, I had a few questions, and I don't know if you felt the same, but like my only questions to the movie is like, so it was like 1620 that all of this happened,
Yeah,
supposedly, because they talk about
1622. Well, I know.
1620.
Yeah, well, I know it's 1622 is because when I made up my history of Captain Mango when I first started this, the whole history of being born in Key. Anyhow, he ends up being hung for piracy in 1622. So when I started that movie and that date popped up, I'm like, oh, that's a coincidence there.
Mm-hmm.
It was
That's awesome.
1622.
So
Yeah,
six,
so I thought it was for what it was, I thought it was a pretty well done movie.
yeah.
Um, the story had a couple gaps in the plot that I couldn't quite figure out how they bridged them. But
Mm-hmm.
it's that type of movie, Jonathan.
Yeah.
It's not. This isn't going to be up for Academy Awards.
No. They know what they're making, you know.
Yeah,
They know
and
who
it
they're
was.
selling this to. My only problem was like I was looking at all these reviews and so many people just bashed on it. And I was like, I mean, first of all, if you completed a movie, like,
Yeah,
period,
yeah, yeah.
or if you got the movie out on Tubi, like
Exactly.
big, big, big props to you.
And if
So,
you got it out on Tubi with this quality of a movie,
right. Like
this was. I was
this was low
watching the.
budget.
Yeah, and I
Or-
was watching the scenes that they were supposed to be on ship, and just um, the little thing that they had behind them of the lantern constantly swinging. You know, just
Yeah.
gave you the feel that you were on something moving.
Yep.
But they didn't have to move the camera and all that. Just that one little swing of a lantern let you know they were on something on the ocean.
Uh-huh.
And I thought the scenes inside the ship were decent. they were decent. The pirate garb, looked pretty authentic. I thought the guy that played Jacob, I looked up on IMDb, and he's got quite a few credits.
He was actually in a friend of mine's movie. So my friend MJ Dixon makes a bunch of movies out in, I guess England, like that area, and whatnot. And so he made a movie called Cleaver or something, and the dude was the sheriff in that, and I'm like, wow, really? Because I was looking this guy up. I guess this guy's been in some bigger stuff and everything. So
Yeah, I
it's
think 60 some movies, and his,
yeah.
his ranking on IMDb is pretty low. In fact, most of the core cast, probably had rankings on IMDb of 150 or less.
Uh,
So out of
pretty,
out of 12, 13 million, that's pretty good.
yeah, yeah,
And
they
the
were.
girl that played the main character, what was it, Elena? I
Yeah, but
thought
what
she did. I
what
thought
was
she
her
did
name? She
good.
had a weird, sort of weirder name that I've never like. Um,
Elena.
well, no, the girl was named Elena, but her
Oh
real
yeah, the
name
the
was
actress.
Hannah Bang Benz. That was, I was like, oh, okay, but
Yeah,
like
I
she was
wonder where.
fantastic. She was probably
Yeah,
the best part of the movie.
yeah,
I just loved her. I loved her character. It somebody even said like in a review that I read on like Letterbox that it was nice to see like sort of a change in the characters, because usually characters, especially like the lead characters, are sort of dumb, and make
yeah,
dumb decisions and
yeah,
everything. This girl was making smart decisions.
yeah, yeah,
Unfortunately, things were in her way,
yeah. Exactly,
and
exactly.
everything. So but she kept trying. She kept trying to think of different things. And there's at one point that her ex was with her. Was his name Michael? Michael.
Michael, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, and he was like next to her, and he was saying, you know, um, oh, so how are we gonna make them think I'm, you know, whatever, still here? And he was like, oh, you. She was like, you still will be here. I don't know what
yeah,
she was planning to do, because like once she got up there, she's on the middle of the ocean. Unless if she knew there was a rowboat that she could take or something. Even
Well,
then,
I think they had seen the radio.
right? But like,
Yeah,
it's like a video game. You're in the middle of like a bunch of pirates.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
most likely not going to get to the radio.
yeah,
And she did. She got to the radio, but like, still, she had to fight off all these pirates, and she almost got the R word. I don't want to say the R word because YouTube is very weird about stuff and
yeah,
can get you in
yeah,
trouble with that stuff. But like she got SA'd. I don't even want to say that
yeah,
word because
yeah.
you're
Well,
very
what I found refreshing about this movie, and you're around a lot of independent horror movies. I started out in pretty low budget horror movies, that were just a lot of horror and TNA, you know, and it was
hmm
refreshing to watch a horror movie that they didn't have to go to that.
no.
You know,
Well,
it
yeah, that's right. They don't have any TNA in this, do they?
no,
No.
and in a lot of these movies, the TNA is put in there just so um, lonely guys will go out and buy that movie.
Yeah, I see so many reviews of horror films where if they don't like the movie or whatever, they'll be like, it doesn't even have,
Yeah,
any nudity or whatever, so this
yeah.
really sucked. And I'm like, dude, so you're watching it? Like, go watch OnlyFans.
Go
Like,
watch
I
what.
mean,
Yeah, go watch if that's what you
like,
want. Go watch that kind of movie.
yeah, go watch a porno. I don't care.
They
But
do have a pirate porn movie, that.
I, I remember it like, oh man, so the girl that was like the main star of that, Jessie Jane, she died this year. And that
Yeah,
kind of sucks to hear
yeah,
because I really liked her. Not
yeah.
like I just thought she was a very powerful. Like
Well,
that's the one thing in that industry, and I'll always stand up for sex workers. But the one thing I adore about that industry is how much power the females have,
oh yeah,
considering like in
they got
Hollywood,
every.
they've got no power,
No,
it feels
no.
like, but in the porn industry, women are queen of that industry and
but
stuff.
their marketability is so small.
Hmm.
I mean, there are ones that hang on, but their good marketability is between a certain age.
Exactly. Well,
And
no, that's not necessarily true. I remember seeing movies on grannies. There are granny porn.
yeah, well, there's
I
movies
want
out
to say
there.
I want to say that nowadays, especially because we are getting into like a world of kinks and fetishes more, that there are porn for almost anybody.
Oh, there is,
So
there is.
I feel like women and men have the longevity on of being a porn star, because you can say as an actor, at a certain age you start playing different roles, like you'll only get like girls will only get like the mom role or something,
Yeah,
and won't
yeah.
you can't play
Well, and
like the
I think in probably in that industry and even independent and in mainstream uh, films, um, with the intervention of streaming and all the streaming services and all that, there's just so many movies being made out there.
yeah.
And years ago, especially in the porn industry, if you didn't have a local VHS shop, you didn't see it.
Hmm.
You couldn't go on your streaming service and find it on there, or go on the internet. And now, like you exactly like you said, whatever your interest may be, you can find it on the internet somewhere.
Right.
And there's going to be,
Somebody's going to be interested as well,
yeah, yeah, someone's
and
going to watch it. Yeah.
yeah, and that's wonderful. Like,
Oh yeah.
that's a it's a pretty
Well,
awesome.
look how many people that we know, that I wouldn't say makes a living, but has fun in the independent movie business that wouldn't have been there 30 years ago.
It's
You know?
funny. It's funny that you say that, because I was literally just watching stand-up comic John Mulaney do his one of his, specials or whatever. And he went to rehab and nobody knew who he was, right? Nobody. So he said, "Hi, I'm John M." And
Yeah.
everybody was like, "Why are you waiting for applause?" But the best part of it, they go, "What do you do for a living?" And he goes, "I'm a stand-up comedian." And they look at him and they go, "You can make a living off of that?" And I laughed at that, because yeah, that not many people can make a living off of being a stand-up comedian. Not a
Yeah.
lot of people can make a living off of being an actor or a
No.
director or a filmmaker. But there is ways, and there is, and mostly it's the people like John Mulaney who can really make a living off of it, because they're famous and they've been doing it for so long,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything. So,
Yeah.
but
Of all, I think it's foolish for anybody to get into this independent movie business with expectations of making it big. You
well,
know, there's
I
that chance, but it's like that kid playing baseball in that sand lot that someday is gonna pitch for the New York Yankees. Yeah,
right.
it could happen, but odds are it's probably not gonna. You know?
Well, and if you look at the movie The Sandlot, they use that as an example. One out of the what 9, 10 kids, whatever, actually became a famous, you know,
Yeah,
baseball player. All the rest, one of the other guys became an announcer, the main
yeah,
kid, and then the rest did their own thing and did, baseball wasn't their, did not become their life, or
yeah.
whatever.
And
But
that was probably that even that one kid out of 9 kids, that was really beating what the odds are. I mean,
yeah,
that's like 10%. 10% don't make it, they just don't.
exactly. Like
They
usually
don't
they
make it.
don't. But it is really, I mean, it's nice to see when they do. And I do, because I'm one of those people that I never got into making movies to get into the independent film business. Like, if you had told me when I first started that I was gonna embark into the indie film business, I would have told you you're insane. I'm going to Hollywood, baby. I'm going to be a Hollywood director. I'm going to be a Hollywood writer. I want, and I still can be. I mean, that's not the
Oh
odds
yeah, you
are
got
still there, but here's the thing. Like my brain wasn't about the independent world. I got kind of, kind of into the independent world because I was like, right now I don't, have the whatever, the skills or the know-how to make it in Hollywood. Like if I went to Hollywood when I was 20, when I really first started to
yeah,
like make these little videos, I would have been eaten up, spit out, and thrown out
yeah,
on my butt and said, "Dude, you cannot cut it here." Now I went to Hollywood in 2020, worst fucking year to go to Hollywood, I tell you, but I went
yeah, yeah,
there to try, and I couldn't get a job to save my life because right in there they all shut down, and
yeah.
then
That
when
was
I finally got chance was gonna leave, everything opened up. So I was like, damn it, maybe Hollywood doesn't want me. Oh,
yeah. It might
this
have
is
been that might have
maybe
been a
I was
sign.
cursed, you
I
know.
mean, I got into independent acting by fluke because I'd been Captain Mango for quite a few years, and an actress model from DC, we did a photo shoot together, and she said you need to be in the movies, and she got me a 1 day walk on in Mills versus Zombies as a,
Nice.
as a zombie pirate, and then
Yeah, I love that movie.
I worked like 10 more weekends as 10 different zombies. I looked.
Yeah, because you could change your look up. Yeah.
Yeah, I could change my look. And then it's just taken off from there. And I just, my biggest movie so far is Anna Key. It's I've won three Best
Amanda's
Actor
movie.
awards, internationally and nationally. And people ask me what are you going to do next, and I have no idea. I have no idea, Jonathan. You
Mhm.
know, I was
Well,
I
you
never
know,
had this. I never had this path in life charted out. I never had the path of working in professional wrestling. Never had that charted out. I'm in uncharted territory here. So I don't know.
tell them wherever the wind takes you.
Yeah, whatever. I
You
tell
know.
people I got to where I'm at, the shameless self promotion.
So a lot of people don't know this about me, but I love the sea. Like I love movies about the sea. The Fog is one of my favorite movies. When I
Yeah,
kind of wrote on Facebook like a little bit ago that that there should be more pirate horror films, and everybody kept saying The Fog. And yes, The Fog is I think the first one that really got me. But no, no, no. I think I fell in love with it when I watched there's an Are You Afraid of the Dark episode where there's a pirate horror pirate thing. And I was like, like a mixture of two of my favorite things because I did like
yeah.
pirates. I always thought pirates were cool.
I think
Um,
in the independent field now, from what I can see on Facebook, it looks like I don't know where it's being shot in Ohio, Indiana, somewhere like that. Mel Heflin is involved in a pirate story. I see the
there's
character. Yeah, I
there's
see the character, and he's a pirate. Don't know what the premise is or whatever.
Mel's always up to something. Um,
Yeah, he's.
See, she's the exact opposite. She's got her career kind of pathed out. She
Oh
knows
yeah,
sort of what she wants to do, where she wants to go with everything.
I think
Maybe not
women.
exactly because like I don't think any actor in the independent world knows exactly but they have goals, they have plans, and a lot of it is work, 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 work. Like I'm
Yeah,
gonna work on this project, then I'm gonna go later and work on this project. So it's just nice, when especially when you don't have anything planned out, and then here you are being asked to be in a movie in Ireland,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like how awesome, right?
Well, I looked at it this way. Once I got into the business, is you don't know. Well, you sometimes you have an idea when you get into the movie, start a movie. You know that the movie is crap when you start making it, but you make it anyhow. But there are
Mm.
some movies that you get into, and it's like you don't know if down the road that's going to become a cult classic. You look at the Blair Witch Project, made for nothing, and the highest grossing movie
I
ever.
I give it praise for that, but that movie is not my favorite not my favorite movie. And I think it's so funny. One of the directors won't add me on Facebook. I think it's because he knows or heard
Oh
or
yeah.
something or whatever.
Well,
Uh,
I've started working with that group.
that's awesome. Like I love that they went out and made this independent film that blew up and became the highest grossing independent film at that time. I don't know if I think Paranormal Activity may have beat it at that point because at
Well,
that point they were independent.
I think what it is percentage wise it made because it they made it for nothing.
No.
So whatever profit they made, it was that much percentage profit.
I honestly just didn't like I think the problem was I didn't go into it originally thinking this was real because I already knew it wasn't. There was already people talking about how it wasn't. I
Yeah,
think if I went in there thinking that this was a real story, and saw it in the theaters when it first came out, I probably would have been like, whoa, and
yeah,
everything. And I would have been, but I saw that it was fake. And then the thing there's about 20, 30 minutes maybe or whatever where they're in the woods just talking. And to me, it just wasn't interesting enough to I mean, almost keep me focused. Like I just didn't, it was
yeah,
more the bickering and yelling at each other that just sort of drove me to go, I don't really like these people. Like I don't care right now, you know?
yeah,
And I think that was the problem because I think a lot of it was improv and a lot of it was like, let's do this on the spot and everything. That was wonderful. But I think, and maybe some of it was written, but it didn't like grip me. And so I think the
yeah,
problem I have with the movie is like I see that and I watch that and I'm just like I'm not into it, but I can respect it and I definitely love that those guys out there went out and made, Eduardo Sanchez and all of
yeah,
them made a movie, with three
yeah,
people in the
yeah.
main cast that went out and
And
nobody knew who they were. Now they
yeah,
do.
it was the very first, I think, found footage
Yeah.
type
Well,
movie.
it wasn't the first, but
Oh, it wasn't the first.
but
Okay. I
it was close. I think there was like
okay.
maybe one or two other horror films that were there before it, but this was the one that got the most attention,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I
Because,
worked. I don't. Eduardo, I guess, his production company will take on outside movie makers under his canopy. You know,
nice.
and I did. I was in The Jester. I was in last night at Terrace Lanes, and I was in their movie Ghost Games.
Oh,
So
sweet. Those all
I've
sound
been,
great titles.
yeah, and and again, they for what they were good movies, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and because you have to look at the genre here, and like I said, Ship of the Damned is not ever going to be nominated for an Academy Award. Nobody had made that expected to ever be
Yeah,
that kind
they
of
made
movie,
exactly what they wanted to make.
and it turned out good. I applaud them for the quality movie that they made.
I agree. Like it turned out actually, I mean, well, here's the thing. You told me you really liked it, so I was like going in, I think, with even higher expectations than what I should have anyway. But even then, I still liked that. Like I was happy with it. I felt like there were some stuff in it that I felt, you know, sort of I don't know. It worked really well for
Yeah,
me and
they
and
kept the
everything.
suspense going. They had enough little quirks in there to change direction
It
of
had a
how it was
twist.
going
I
to
I
go.
won't say the twist. We do spoil on the show a lot, but I won't this one
Hey, I'm
because
not
it's
gonna.
a
Yeah,
pretty good twist.
the twist at the end was that it was nice.
Yeah. It was a
I
good ending.
Yeah,
It felt, you know, I don't know, like throughout it, I just was like thinking, all right, and we see another thing I like is something that gets explained. It's very simple, but it's her like practicing her karate in the beginning, or
yeah,
her
yeah,
whatever Krav
yeah,
Maga or whatever she's doing in the beginning. So later when she says, "I'll fight you," you
yeah,
know, that she
yeah,
can kick some ass.
Yeah.
because generally speaking, if you never showed that scene in the beginning, some people would be like, oh yeah, this girl can take this guy on, whatever. But if you see that she's a badass in the beginning, then later it's already implanted in your brain. So they did a good
Yeah.
job with that.
Well,
Um,
in the way it started, um, I thought set up the whole movie well. You didn't
hmm,
know at the time, you didn't know what you were seeing, but when it was explained,
exactly.
that was the whole uh, kind of premise of the movie.
Uh-huh.
And you didn't know when you were watching it that that's what it was. You
Right.
assumed it was just one thing. One thing was happening there. You know.
You want to explain? You can explain. I don't think it will spoil too much, but
Okay. Well, you just thought at the beginning that this was going to be just a story of cannibal pirates.
Cannibal Pirates. That's a
Yeah,
great title, by the way. Cannibal Pirates. Pirate.
cannibal
Yeah,
pirates.
Cannibal
And
Pirates.
it ended up, it was, but with a twist,
Yeah.
with a
And
twist.
yeah, it's the cursed ship. And
Yeah,
the idea that the ship is the ship, and that's awesome to me because, it makes the ship almost feel like another character, which, as you said, they did a great job with making the ship seem like it was rocking. They made the ship kind of come to life when that's obviously sets that they sort of
yeah,
made. Also, they made sets and stuff like art direction was really good in the
yeah.
movie, and I applaud them for that. I mean, not many people,
I wonder what the budget was on that movie.
people were like making fun of it, saying it was like only probably a few pounds. I guarantee this was probably. I mean, I don't know how pounds work. I'm very
Either.
bad at that.
But just in U.S. dollars, I would guess this was a $400,000 or $500,000 movie.
I don't think that much. I don't. I would still probably think low, because
Oh, you
like
think low?
yeah, because I don't
Well,
think
I
any
know
of the
how
actors
independent.
were really big names or anything.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
then they probably found like a lot of these movies get made because somebody like found a pirate ship or has had something available and they're like, let's write it around a pirate ship.
had their basement made up to look like a pirate ship. Yeah.
Exactly. So they're like, oh, let's just make this pirate ship.
By the way, I don't have mine made up to look like a pirate ship.
Damn. What are you thinking,
But
man? You gotta make
but I
your
do have
basement look like a pirate
I
ship.
do have a ship's mast hanging on the wall over here. One of the nude girls that hang on the
Uh,
front of. I got one here in my
hmm.
living room.
I would love to see it, but we definitely get
Well, I
flagged
don't
for
think
that.
yeah, I don't think so. It's just like it's made to look like a wooden sculpture, so it's not. I could put a bandana around it.
Maybe sometime we'll do that if we get to interview
Yeah,
you
if we
sometime.
have to, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I'd rate the movie higher, but one thing that holds me back rating it higher is they didn't contact me to be in it.
What were they thinking?
What?
Captain Mango's got to be in everything.
What? You know,
Mm. Yeah.
had they
Uh,
had me in it, man, it might have been a 9 out of 10. But
yeah. It might have been a 10 out of 10 because you
it
just
it
that's
might
just
have
you.
been.
Yeah.
It might have been. But it was, like I said, for what I was entertained,
Right.
because I had a vested interest in it because it would be in a pirate movie.
Right. And I mean, that's why I asked you, but
Yeah,
also because, you know, it's an independent pirate movie. This is a
yeah.
low budget independent pirate movie, not made by Hollywood, made by creative studios, without the E. So I'm wondering if like because it's Creativ. I wonder if they did that to be creative. I don't
Hmm.
know.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Or
I don't
if
know.
maybe there's another company called Creative Studios with the
Yeah,
E, and they could get away with calling it Creative Studios
could
with the
be,
V, with just the
could
V and
be.
no E. But it was, you go to their site. The only thing I'm going to complain about their site is that all it's got up to is like the ship of the damned stuff, and then nothing about the future of the company or anything like that. And in fact, you look at Steve Lawson's IMDb. He only has like one other production, and it's something he's written and not directing,
Well,
coming up.
maybe he's one of those, the way more people should be. Maybe he's one of those people that starts a project and finishes a project, and then starts a project and finishes a project instead of starting one and then getting a third of the way through and starting another one and then
Hey,
starting
I feel
another
like
one and
because
starting.
I'm like that with a lot of my scripts. I'll start one and then
Yeah,
I'll be like, I like this idea, so I'm gonna go start with this, and then I'm gonna come back to this. And then I do most of the time I come back to it, but then sometimes I have to just suck it up and just write it straight through. It's
yeah.
hard, because
Scripts
my
are a little
brain
bit
is not
different because that's just you personally
right.
involved. I'm talking about people that go out and start a movie and get a third of the way through and then start another movie
Oh, whoa,
and
no,
this one
no.
and then start another movie and then they're promoting, but here's my next movie that's coming out after
I
the
know
one that
people
I'm
like that, but
starting,
like they
you
do
know?
get them finished. They just get like they're now all of a sudden they have like 20 projects coming out in the
Yeah,
same
yeah. So
year,
at least this guy looks like he does a project, gets it done, and then works on another project.
Yeah. I haven't seen his other movies. I think all of them are on Tubi.
Are
Or
they?
so. Yeah, or
Yeah,
at
I'd
least
watch.
most of them.
I'd watch more of
I'm
his
really
movies.
interested in the Ripper one, so I'm definitely gonna check that out at some point because I'm really fascinated by Jack the Ripper.
Oh, I am
Um,
too. I am too.
yeah, so I've thought about doing my own Jack the Ripper one, as writing something about it. Not that I would make because I got way too many projects
Yeah,
already, but something I would love to write and just sell to production companies. And I
yeah,
mean sell, not give. A
yeah,
lot of people try to get it where you give them something, and I'm like, dude, I'm now at this point, I'm not writing for anybody unless money's up front. Um, you
yeah.
know,
And I'm trying to get to the point where I'm not. I don't. I'm not going to work on movies for free. You know.
I get
I
it.
I mean, I'll still do it if I really like the project. You know. And it's I'm more anymore. I mean, because Anna Key stretched out over 2 years, and I was in. Oh, if there was, I think it was 136 pages script, and
Whoa.
I was probably in close to 100 of the pages.
Wow.
So it was a intensive movie, and it was um, there were times I'd leave the set, and go home crying, because it was that that dramatic, that pulling, you know. And
Mm.
so I knew if that's what it was having the effect on me, and I was in the scene. Well, we'll back up. The old adage: there's three movies that get made: the one that gets written, the one that gets shot, and the one that gets edited.
Mm.
Well, we knew the screenplay was good because Matt Anderson, it had won best screenplay 22 out of 24 film festivals. So we knew we had a good screenplay, knew we had a good story. And then when we shot it, we knew we shot it. And I think you'll feel this as an actor. Um, when you're on set, when you did a good job.
Mm.
When it clicked. It's nice to have somebody, when you finish the scene, go, "Oh man, that was great." That you on the back, but if it worked or not.
I had
You,
that like I had that exact, we just shot the what is it, the opening parts to Scary Story Slumber Party Volume 2, you know? And I
yeah,
had actors I never worked with before, right? Actresses that I never worked with before. And all of them did amazing jobs. Two of them had never acted in their life. This was their first thing. So I was thinking this is the simplest thing for, a bunch of girls at a slumber party telling scary
yeah,
stories. That's as simple as you can get. I don't have to make them go through any kind of dramatic thing or whatever.
yeah.
But one of
No,
the girls had actually acted in a bunch of stuff, and I was watching her do the stuff, and she just blew me away. Like, because she took what I wrote, you know, and gave it more to it, like brought
Yeah,
more to it and everything. And first I was a little worried because like the stuff she was bringing to it wasn't like what I wrote, but I was like, if I don't like it, I can always kind of tell her, I didn't like that. Can we do it like a, different way?
yeah,
I loved it. Of everything she did, and even the other girls were just I want to work with them some more, right? Like and you just know like you've got something fun, when
yeah,
you're having fun, when you're laughing and you're just enjoying it, and if it's dramatic, if you're crying and you're like feeling it, I get that with your
yeah.
with Anna Key, so that's
Yeah, it was.
amazing.
I was part of the hiring process for uh, for Anna, and the girl we got had just graduated from, I think, LaSalle Acting School I'm not sure that's a proper name, but in Chicago,
Sounds
and,
right.
and she had gotten a 4 year full ride scholarship to there and had just graduated from there. So somebody saw something in her 4 years ago, and we're
Hmm.
getting her right out of 4 years of training. And I told her when we took her on, I said, you're going to have to work with me or I'm going to look like shit in these scenes with you. And we probably spent maybe 20, 30 hours on Zoom going over every scene. And then when I started taking acting classes a couple months ago, I realized, man, she gave me a bachelor's degree in acting in 30 hours of Zoom, and I credit her for my my performance in Anna Key because if you're working, and another thing I found, Jonathan, I don't know, I've worked with any actors or actresses before that were theater trained.
Hmm.
When I worked with her a whole movie, I worked with another girl that was theater trained in a couple scenes in a movie. I just did a small scene with a girl that's going to Liverpool acting something in London, which is
Hmm.
supposed to be one of the top ones. And you can tell when you're eye to eye with these people that are theater trained, you see it in their eyes.
Hmm.
There's a difference, you know? And man, I've been spoiled now, you know,
Yeah. Well, that's
but
good.
it brings out the best in you. When
I
you got somebody of that quality, it brings out the best in you.
Absolutely. Your scene partner is your most important thing. If they're
Yeah,
not giving it to you, like what you are giving to them, and it's not reciprocal, then it's like chemistry.
it
You
is.
have to have chemistry with the
It
person.
is.
And you can and the audience can tell when the two people don't have that chemistry, and it's hard. I remember when I acted in a short film I never had unfortunately it never came out. And it wasn't like, it was something I was producing and unfortunately it never came out because we just never got it completely edited the right
Yeah,
way and everything, and we weren't happy. But it was my first time just producing and acting and writing and not directing, or whatever. And I was with this actress, I won't say who it was or whatever. I was with this actress and she wanted to build chemistry with me. So she flown out from LA, came out, and we went to play pool and hang out. And we were
yeah,
supposed to look, I guess we were supposed to be like, you know, was it husband and wife, I guess, or whatever.
yeah,
And so I wrote it, I should know, but it's been a while. It's been like since 2009 or yeah, 2009 or 10, some 10, I think, 2010. And so it's been a while. And so I did that scene and we had some pretty good chemistry, but she hadn't got me to go out and do stuff, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know if we would have still had that or I would have been nervous or
yeah.
whatever.
I don't know how because there were some um, kind of intimate scenes in Anna Key. And the big thing was there was a big difference in age. In reality, there was almost 40 years between us. In the movie, it was supposed to be more like 30 years between us. But um, I don't know how Hollywood actors, I guess that's why they're paid what they're paid. just a male and a female shows up on set and performs together.
Hmm.
You know, Abigail and I were able to do that because we spent 20, 30 hours on Zoom, you know,
Right.
getting to know each other, you know?
Well, also, I had an actor, and he was fantastic. I'll tell this now because I'll tell whatever to who it was, but it's Matthew Ewald. I don't know if you are familiar with him, but he's a
No.
Virginia slash North Carolina. He's a Hollywood actor who came and now he works for independent stuff and works a lot with John Johnson, and his film company Darkstone Entertainment. But he came on my set and he was fantastic to watch. So he has a scene where he has to or he has scene where he had to be sort of like look like he was husband and wife, new like sort of newlyweds
Yeah.
couple or whatever, just bought a house with this girl Heather, and they had just met, like they had never met. Oh nope, nope, I take that back. They had met on another set of mine, but this was their first time like working together as like whatever, right?
It's a couple.
So
Yeah.
as a couple, so they had met on my previous set, but this time it was like a real like scene together and stuff that they had to do. So he comes up and I watched from, because I think I had to go ask him a question. So, but before then, I saw him talking to her. And one of the things he asked her was like, hey, so I'm going to put my hand like right here at this time.
Yep.
Are you comfortable with that? And she was like, oh, yeah, yeah, right. But like, that right there is the most professional thing I've ever seen as an actor talking to another actor and making sure they felt comfortable with every sort of movement that they were going to do, if they were going to like kiss or whatever, which I
Yeah.
think they do have a kiss scene. That they feel that they're okay with it. And to me, I feel like that's lost a lot. This movie, to go back to this movie that we're reviewing, uh, the lead actor, the male guy, Michael or whatever,
Yeah.
and
Michael.
the ex-boyfriend, I really bought that he was in love with her and she had lost whatever interest in him that she had had. Like there
Well,
was
but then you find out at the end, did she? You know, I think it was one of those. I think it was one of those things with her where she may have been looking back on getting to the point of looking back on it that maybe that wasn't the best thing because if you remember she said during the movie that she would explain to him what happened,
right.
and then at the end of the movie she explains it to her girlfriend,
Mhm.
why they
After she get,
split.
but how did she get off the ship?
Well, remember they showed the helicopter
Right.
coming in.
But I thought they weren't allowed to leave, if they were on the ship. I thought that
Well,
was sort of a thing.
we don't know they did. Yeah, that was a question for me. If she was, oh man, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but
Well, feel
if
free
she was
because
some,
like
if she
hopefully
was
they've gone
somehow,
to Tubi and watched it first before watching this
yeah,
review.
if she was somehow affected by the curse,
Mm-hmm.
then she would have been in the same predicament as the pirates and not
Mm-hmm.
being able to leave the ship and come back to. Now maybe they can explain it away and say, well, maybe she was just, had a touch of the curse and wasn't as into it as what they were. But yeah, but like I said, the twist at the end, I like that they took it back to the one statement that the one pirate told her, and that set up the end of the movie.
Right.
The one line
Which one?
again,
Which?
when he told her that she was cursed now,
Yeah.
that set up the ending of the movie. But
But you didn't
you're going,
notice it at first. Yeah. And then you
no,
kind
you
of,
didn't notice it, you
yeah.
know. And I
You
love
never thought
little,
about that. You never thought she would be
yeah. In
Sue.
fact,
And
I wouldn't say I wouldn't go back and watch this movie again to try to pick up other little nuances that were written into the movie because whoever wrote this movie, wrote a good script.
well, yeah, the
You know,
director also wrote it, and I think he did a good job. It, I mean, it had a firm beginning, middle, and end. It did feel like a uh it's got the save the cat beat type stuff like um for a writer like myself, I use the save the cat beats, which are Blake Snyder made this kind of thing where the beginning is certain ways and each thing happens, a certain at a certain time period, right? So
Yeah,
like by page 25 the second act begins and stuff like that. And sometimes that becomes like, page or minute 26 or 23 or 27 if it's, if the credits roll like they did. They had credits in the beginning of the movie. Um I think a lot of that had to do with timing to make it stretch a little further long. A lot of people don't do that anymore because, especially in Hollywood, because the modern audiences, the people in the Gen Z or Gen whatever, Gen everything else.
whatever generation this is,
Yeah,
we're
Gen
into
Alpha,
now.
there's gonna be Gen Betas. I mean, Jesus Christ. Um, I would not like to be a beta, grow
Yeah,
up to, that would suck.
you're always gonna be second best.
Right. But they're next, they're the new
Oh yeah, they have to
thing.
be.
So,
They have to
yeah.
be.
Right. So anyway, but Gen Z and all that other people who are watching these movies, they are, they don't they've got more stuff to peruse than we did. Like remember when we were young, we would go to the video store or whatever, and we'd go rent like a movie, right? But sometimes you could buy like I remember my video store would have like a deal where you could get 5 movies for $5 or something like that,
For the weekend.
or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah. So it
yeah.
was like a Tuesday deal or something. I remember it being specifically on a Tuesday. So it would be like today. I could go over to the video store and rent like, five movies for like, basically $1 each, or whatever. And I would
Yeah.
do that. And it would be for the whole week. I could watch, 5 movies. So,
But see,
but
you remember that. I remember way back, the only time you saw a movie is you had to physically go to a theater and watch a movie.
yeah. So you
That was
didn't want
it.
to just leave a movie because you just spent your time, you
Yeah,
spent your energy, spent money driving over to the theater. You spent a lot of time. So if a movie like, but nowadays everybody has streaming. So like and Tubi has a billion movies on it. So if the first 5, 10 minutes don't grab you, or if you get bored like halfway through, they're gonna turn you off and turn on another movie. And
yeah.
thankfully, this movie didn't have anything that made me, this is so slow. Some people said it dragged. I disagree, but
No, I
I've
didn't.
seen worse.
I thought there were a couple places where it drove a little bit, but I didn't mind it. But yeah, it's we didn't have that back then. You had to invest your time and your money and all to go to a theater and see a movie, and you got to see it one time. Unless I know theaters here in town would run, old time horror movies, and they'd run them from 11 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, and you could pay and go in there and sit in there and watch the same 3 movies over 3 times. And then what became exciting with TV is I think it was Sunday night at the movies or
Yeah,
Monday night at the movies, and that would be like um, a major movie that had just got done its theater run, and
right.
it's like, man, I can watch this movie on TV, but you had to watch it then because we didn't have VCRs. So if you didn't plan your time and you weren't home from 7 till 9 on Sunday nights or Monday nights, you didn't see the movie.
I remember being in a hotel. And the hotels would sometimes get the movies before they went to
Yeah,
VHS or
yeah,
whatever. So I was in a hotel and I got so excited because Scream 2 had just got on at the hotel, and I begged my parents at that time to buy it for me and stuff so I could watch it in the hotel. And I watched Scream 2 in my hotel room and everything, and I one of my favorite sequels, honestly, of all time. So, but
yeah.
that's the thing. Like we nowadays it would just go to Amazon and be like $20 to buy to rent on Amazon after it's already had its theater run. So we kind of live in an age where, like we said earlier, there's a million movies and a million opportunities for all these writers and directors and producers and actors. And Tubi is one of those wonderful places because like movies like this guy's movies are out there and available, and you know the
Yeah,
quality
years ago, we
is,
wouldn't have ever known about this movie,
well, I know about it
especially
because
it being an
Tubi
English
is,
movie.
I'm signed into Tubi, and so Tubi knows my algorithm, like has an algorithm, knows what
Yeah,
I like, and it'll start picking movies based on other movies that I watched. So, like, because I watched this, probably other pirate horror movies are going to pop up on my recommended or whatever, something similar to this, and I might be like, ooh, I want to see Curse of the Pirate Death, which I own, but I've never watched yet. You know, I own it on DVD, but I haven't watched, but I realized it was on Tubi. You know, it might pop up in my recommended. And I'm happy about that. But yeah,
but
this
as
movie and
easy as
others
what it is,
are up there. So,
as easy as what it is to watch movies now, there, Jonathan, it's just as easy to watch it for 10 seconds, and if it doesn't get your attention, you're done. I just took a professional wrestling seminar, and they were teaching us promos. And this guy was telling me that when we shoot a promo, we got 4 or 5 seconds to catch that audience, or they're clicking.
yep. That that there's a guy out there that talks about TikTok, and his name's Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you ever heard of him or not. But he's sort of a social media guru type guy. You know, he knows all about the social media stuff and how to market yourself on social media. And that's very important these days because
Yeah,
especially you would know as yeah, pirate, you know, like that's got to be a thing. You've got to hook people into, no pun intended with Captain Hook, but you got to hook
yeah,
people in and
pick
tell
them. Yeah,
people, that you're into it. And so a movie like this, yeah, it has to grab you pretty quickly. Now, I think with movies, it's different than TikTok. TikTok, just because you can just like go whoop, whoop,
yep,
whoop,
yep, yep, yep,
and click
yeah,
it and everything, and you're on to the next. It's almost like the dating apps,
yeah, yeah.
if the girl doesn't look that attractive in the first whatever, or
I've
whatever,
never been on one, but what
swiping,
do? You swipe it?
you swipe
Yeah.
left if you don't want it, swipe right if you do. And
Now, once
did
you
you know
swipe
the
left,
first
can you ever go back and bring them back, or is that
no, you're done.
you're
You're
done?
done.
Oh,
Yeah.
gee.
Even if they liked you, you're done, you know. So I don't know how many people swiped left on me before I even got a chance to even see them. But it happens, I'm sure. Um, but anyway, did you know that I just remembered this the other day. I was talking to somebody about it, but I think it's hilarious. There was a thing called Hot or Not. Do you remember that? It was it was the worst idea for like a potential dating app. They weren't even trying to make a dating app because this is like, I think before or after Match.com, but like, it was sort of like where people would say either you were hot or you were not. And so instead of it being left being not, left was the one you wanted, and hot and not was the, right? So if you didn't find somebody attractive, you said not, you know. And I think they let you know too, so it's kind of cruel,
Oh, it was, yeah.
that's sort
You
of
got
cruel.
15
But
knots today.
yeah, so
Yeah.
and the worst part was like, say you saw somebody and you're like, that girl's hot. She can tell you no, she's not interested by saying not, or whatever, right? And stuff. And I've actually met a friend of mine through that, because what they would do is you would do hot, and if you both found each other hot, you could message each other, you know? So it was like pre Tinder. Tinder was where you swipe right, and if you both swipe right, you match and you can chat with each other or whatever. But I think there was like a ranking
Oh,
too. So
yeah.
if you were hot, blah blah blah, right? And so I was like, this is the most cruel thing. Facebook started from that.
I
Uh,
got you.
Mark Zuckerberg actually, and it's in the, I think it's in the Social Network movie that they made, but he liked that and he wanted to rate college girls. He thought that would be fun for college kids to rate
Yeah.
other college kids and maybe date or whatever through it. So when people say Facebook is not a dating app, it sort of was starting as
Oh
something
yeah.
that could have been a dating app, but then it gradually became a social media, which is
Yeah.
more about just being friends and meeting people and having, friendships with people and not,
Yeah.
actual turning into relationships. You can still, a lot of people have met their significant others on
Oh yeah.
dating
Oh
apps,
yeah. Yeah.
or on Facebook.
But I can honestly say I've never been on a dating app in my life. Of course,
You should,
I'm a
as Captain Mango. See how many people are
well.
interested
You know
in
what?
the
I did a 48-hour film festival here in Frederick, Maryland, 3 4 years ago. People called me up and said, "Hey, we want you as a character in our 48-hour film festival."
right?
I go, "Okay." And what it was the girl and I were on a dating app, okay, and I had a picture of me on there,
As Captain Mango?
Captain Mango. Well, I show up for the date in the restaurant as Captain Mango. And she was like, and I go, and she goes, I didn't expect this. And I go, but I showed you the picture, you know? And she goes, and I said, I checked all the boxes. You were looking for a world traveler. You were looking for, somebody seeking adventure, you know? And I go, I checked all the boxes, and and she goes, "Well, you lied to," and I go, "No, I didn't lie to you at all. I showed you I
She
was a
called you a
pirate."
catfish.
Yeah, yeah, and it was pretty funny. It
Funny.
was,
That's a good idea. That's
yeah, 48-hour film festival. It was probably a 7 8 9 minute movie, but it
yeah, it's
was,
gotta be, I think, like 8 minutes long or something at least or
yeah.
whatever.
And
Like there's a
she warmed up to me at the end after I said, "Hey, I'm exactly what you said you were looking for. I check all the boxes." And then she kind of warmed up to me.
nice. Well, I mean, yeah, there you go. You could do it as Captain Mango. I wonder how
Yeah,
many pirates
I
are
don't know.
on dating
I don't
apps.
know.
I wouldn't know because I don't look for guys on there, and I don't see
Yeah,
any pirate ladies, any winches or
winches. Yeah.
yeah, I don't see any of that on there.
Well,
But
it's funny. Over the years, I've had different interests: skydiving, scuba diving, bungee jumping, and it's funny. Every little thing has a niche. You
hmm
know, there are people when I get into skydiving, their whole life was when it was 5 o'clock on a Friday night, they had their car packed, they headed to the drop zone and stayed all weekend and got in as many jumps as what they could until the sun was setting on Sunday night, then drove
hmm
home and went back to work. That's all they did was skydiving every weekend. And you don't realize how many people are into different things. And I thought way back when I started this, I thought I got to be the only crazy butthole that wants to dress up like a pirate. No, I don't know them personally, but I probably know of 4 or 5 thousand people just in the United States that are into being pirates. Now, very few people have carried it to the extent that I have,
hmm
and made a career out of it. But yeah, they'll, and a lot of them will be like, oh man, this weekend I'm going to the Pennsylvania Ren Fest, or it's Pirate Weekend at the Maryland Ren Fest, or there's a
Well,
pirate
there's one in
gathering.
Virginia, that they do every year, in Hampton, Virginia, I think.
Yeah, every Renaissance festival that I know of has a Pirate Weekend.
Yeah.
But
It's
and
nice because all the people dressed up in the Ren Fair outfits will come with the people dressed up in the pirate outfits.
yeah,
So,
I go dressed up as a pirate anytime I go to the Ren Festival. This is, in fact, it used to be when I first started this, Jonathan. I used to think of reasons why I could wear this outfit, and it'd
Nice.
be like, can I? Now it's like, not really, but it's kind of like, man, I got to wear this outfit again, you know? And I love it. But what I like about my pirate character is I can turn it on and turn it off.
Right.
If I want to go somewhere, if I want to go to a Ren festival and I want attention, I'll go dressed like this. If I don't want attention, I'll go dressed, I'll just be Jesse Green.
Mm-hmm.
And but you don't know how many times in life I've gone to places that I've thought, oh, maybe I should wear the outfit, but I'm not sure how it's going to go over. I get
Always
there
goes
and I'm
over
like,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I
I
know girls.
figured.
I know girls that used to work with me back when I did bike shows and all, because I was taking piracy into a place where it had never been, and I'd be a little anxious. I wonder whether it's going to work this weekend. They worked as
Mm.
my winches and mermaids. And they used to always laugh about it. They go, "Yeah, you're only concerned about it until that first person asks you for a picture, and then it's game on." You know, because
Exactly.
if you're standing in line to get a ticket to get into something, and somebody in line goes, "Hey, can I get a picture with you?" Then you
Well,
know it's working.
Well, here's the
You know,
thing, because you've been to like Scares That Care,
yeah,
which is a horror convention and everything, and Chris O'Brien even dressed up as, Merman Christian and everything like that. I think if I'm correct, there was a picture with you and him at the pool at
yeah,
Scares
yeah.
Scares That Care and everything, and you guys were
Well,
having
yeah, we shot a
little fun
little
photo
video. We
shoots.
shot a
Yeah,
little video out there. I was trying to save him. What did we do? I was trying to save him out of the pool, and I shot some video of me playing a pinball game. Um, I don't remember what but it was a
yeah,
really short little quick
yeah.
video. And
Um, well, go ahead.
I it's um I don't know, because I'll be 74 years old in January.
What?
Yeah,
I didn't even know. Wow, I thought you.
yeah.
I swear to God, I thought you were younger. Um,
Well, I
and
act
that,
younger.
I, that's it. There you go. Well,
But I don't know what I'd be doing now, Jonathan, if it wouldn't have been for finding Captain Mango, and then finding Captain
be-
Decapitate, and finding movies,
yeah,
because it keeps me young.
I know, and you know what? That's wonderful because I the funny thing is I talked to somebody about like money can't buy you happiness or whatever, but really that looks like that just bought you happiness. That
Yeah,
you know this finding your purpose in life found you happiness, and this even though there's things that as you were saying, you for a little while you want to take some time off, or you're gonna it
yeah.
sounded like you were gonna quit, and I'm
Well,
glad.
I had all intentions of it.
you
I
know
had all intentions of it, because I just got frustrated with broken promises, working on stuff that never came out, and just the independent movie business is like any business out there, any social thing you get together. There's
mm-hmm.
assholes in the business, you
Uh-huh.
know. And I just got fed up with it, and so I took some time off, kind of restructured, and came back. And I have my own production company now called Blue Pearl Productions,
Nice.
and I work. Russell Sage Patrick and I kind of work together, and we did a short. And I said, when we did the short, I said, I want to shoot it, I want to get it edited, and I want to get it out. In 35 days from the time we shot the short, it was being submitted to film festivals.
That's awesome.
Now it was only less than a 9-minute movie, but I wanted it that quick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. I don't want that lingering. I don't want that lingering stuff out there. And I think that comes from probably my age. You know, I mean, you're what, in your 40s,
Yeah, early 40s.
early 40s. You know, hopefully you got. You're not even halfway through life yet.
Hopefully. I mean,
Hopefully.
you don't know
Yeah,
what's in the
you don't
future,
know,
but
but I know at 73, I don't have 40 years left, you know?
I don't think
Maybe.
you'd want 40 years left.
Well, I tell you what, I'll take 50 or 60 more years if the quality of life stays.
Yeah, that's
If
right.
I can
As
be
long as you don't get like dementia or
Yeah,
something.
if I can be 99 years old and be sitting here talking to you the way I am now, I want to live to be 99. But
Right.
if something would happen and my quality of life goes down, I don't want to live to the end of the year, because what's the sense of that number after that dash if that wasn't quality years,
That's right.
you
Um,
know?
my
And,
mom
and
sort of had that, I don't know if you heard, but like my mom passed away like month ago, in August.
I'm
And
sorry to hear that.
yeah, and it's not, I mean, we sort of knew like it wasn't like all of a sudden thing. It was kind of a
Yeah,
slowly declining thing. But she'd always kind of said, because she was 78, and she was sort of at that time, and even before then, 77, 76, she sort of was already like ready, for whatever happened. And I
yeah,
wasn't,
yeah,
because I mean, not because I just want to be selfish, but it is sort of a
yeah.
selfish feeling of like saying, because I mean, she never got to anything where she got like dementia or,
Huh,
anything like
that's
that. And I
good.
think that's what she was happy about. She didn't want to get into that where, because she saw other people have that and stuff, and she never wanted that. So like me personally, I, I'm happy that I'm not happy, like I would have
No, yeah,
preferred
no, like,
for
yeah,
not to happen. But then again, I was happier that she's not, because she was bedridden pretty much most of the time and did not seem 100% happy herself,
yeah.
and everything. So
I
hopefully,
know mom got Alzheimer's and dementia and all that, and spent the last 5 years in a nursing home.
my
And
grandma was like that too.
I moved in with my mom when she started doing bad. When I got divorced and I moved in with my mom to help take care of her, and it got to a point where I couldn't
Yeah.
do it. I couldn't do
Well,
it.
I was
And
doing that, but then we also had nurses come in and help and stuff,
yeah,
because
yeah,
that's
no,
what needed to be.
I did it all myself.
Whew.
And then, when the decision was made, I mean, it was one of the toughest things I ever did. The morning I asked her, "Hey, you want to go to McDonald's for breakfast?" Yeah, yeah. So we went to McDonald's, had a good breakfast, and then instead of taking her home, I took her to the nursing home.
Oh,
And I knew when I took her to the nursing home that uh, I knew when I took her to the nursing home that she wasn't ever going to see her home again. And that's tough. That's,
mm,
but it wasn't. And I say to this day, if there would have been a way that I could have ended her life, I'd have done it then. So she wouldn't have had going through 5 years of being in a wheelchair and not knowing who I was when I showed up and not knowing where she was. I'd have ended it all before that if I could have, you know, because
mm,
that was hard to take somebody and know that they're never gonna get out, you know. And so I hope uh, we don't know what the future holds for any of us,
yep.
but man, I hope I don't have to go through that. I've got a couple friends that I've talked to that if that happens, they're going to come by some night and make sure they kick the plug out or something, you know,
Mm,
so I don't have to, because I think inside, even though the Alzheimer's and dementia ate away her brain and her thought process, she still knew who she still knew what she was going through.
Yeah.
And man, that sucks. That's got to be like having a stroke, and it just affects you. You can't move, but your mind's still there.
Yeah, sort of like sort of sadly how like Bruce Willis is going through stuff now
Looks like it. Yeah, it looks
and
like it.
Tim Curry was I mean Tim Curry's still going to horror conventions and I saw him and he's in a wheelchair and I mean he like people have asked like why didn't I ever take a picture with him and I'm like I don't it's
No, it's
sad. It's
not.
sort of sad. It's sort of not what I want to like. I get it if people want to and they love him and they want to, but sort of how I don't want to remember him and stuff. And I love him like, and I'm glad he's still around.
Yeah,
As long as he seems happy at the conventions. It doesn't look like he's against his will going to
yeah,
these things or
yeah,
anything. It's not like some manager is making money off of him and that's what you know what I mean? Like it looks like he's enjoying it, but like in the same sense, it's just sad
yeah. It's got to be,
and
got to be sad.
and it's sad to see. I mean, a lot of my favorite actors are getting old, or and
Oh, they're
favorite
getting.
directors are getting old, and it happens, and sadly, there's not enough new blood out there that I'm like interested in. I mean,
Yeah,
once Tarantino passes someday, I'm gonna be like, who's next? Like, I don't really see anybody that is taking the mantle to this.
but yeah,
So.
I don't see. Just in well, the whole concept of actors and actresses have changed over the years. You know,
Hmm.
but I just don't see any. There's a couple standouts, but man, there's just a lot of just average people out there. And even up in the high level acting field.
Yeah.
And nowadays they just churn out movies, and they freaking do remakes, and they
Oh, now it's all AI. Everything's
yeah,
AI. So
it's
they're
all
like,
AI. Yeah,
pretty soon it's all going to be AI. They're not going to even need a director. They just hire, they just animate everybody and
yeah.
and whatnot because, and that I don't know why Hollywood wants to even go that route. Like I don't understand this. I would rather like this movie had a plot, had characters. It
Yeah,
wasn't written by AI. It was
yeah.
written by somebody who took the time and energy and love into something and made it. And I guess we're gonna have to wrap this up because I didn't realize we went over an hour already.
Oh,
I was like,
geez.
oh geez. So
Every podcast that I'm on, we have that trouble because I get talking, and we go
I
here
know
and there,
I
and
get it. I get it, Jesse. But I just want to say thank you for coming on and doing this and talking about pirates and this movie specifically. I think people should check it out if you haven't seen it. I mean, we
yeah,
did kind of spoil some stuff, but if you haven't seen it, definitely watch
yeah. If
it.
you haven't seen it,
It's
Ship
still
of
a
the
really,
Damned.
it's still a fun movie.
Ship of the Damned is worth the hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes.
I think it was
It
an hour and 25 minutes,
was it an hour and 25
Yeah,
minutes.
20,
It
20
wasn't.
something minutes.
It didn't seem long
Yeah.
because it was entertaining. Yeah, I don't think well, my personal opinion, I think it's worth investment of an hour and 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I think you
I
enjoy
think
it.
if you are wanting to watch something that has pirates and horror and it's, pirate
And
horror film,
suspend reality for an hour and 25 minutes. This movie will do it for you. I give it. I was thinking, you were going to get me to rate it.
oh no.
I'd rate this movie probably 7 out of 10.
We do a thing called the stinkometer, which is like 1 out of 10, 10 being very, very stinky, and
Oh,
one
okay.
being very, very good. Like if you were to
Oh, okay.
rate a fart
Right.
and you were like, that was a really good fart. It's, you know, and
Okay. Then I'd
you
rate
know,
this movie a 3.
a 3 on the stinkometer.
Yeah.
I'd
And
probably
actually,
I'd
and what
probably
I
go
told you
4.
earlier, I'd rate it higher if they would have had me in it.
Yep. It would have been a 1.
I'd made it a 1. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've actually talked about having a 0, but we've never had a 0. We've only had ones because I think, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. That'd
I
be
don't
tough
know,
to
like
say the
that would
best.
be Like,
Yeah,
yeah, that would literally have to be like the Citizen Kane of
yeah,
indie
yeah,
films to be like a zero. And then
yeah,
if everybody gave it a zero and it was like a zero on the stinkometer, that would be like the perfect indie film. I think it's perfect. It's beautiful that like the I guess the lowest number could be three, or whatever on the stinkometer.
yeah,
Total
yeah.
of three people voting, because that's what we do is one and one. It would be three. And but yeah, it so yeah,
With
this would
everybody
probably
watching
what
this,
with you and me, and I don't know. I think some people wouldn't get the kick out of it that we did. I think people who love pirates and love the sea and love that kind of stuff. But I mean, I didn't notice like there wasn't any sound issues. I
no,
could see everything. Um, it wasn't boring to me. Like there wasn't any parts where I was like, "Oh God, can
no.
we speed it up?"
In every character, like you said, the main female character wasn't wasn't a doofus, wasn't she was
The
intelligent.
Michael the X was sort of the doofus,
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
but he was still brave enough to try to stand up to the pirate. And I loved his line. She
he
said
was in
something
love.
like he would have killed you, and
Yeah,
he said he was going to kill me anyway. You
yeah.
know,
Well,
and
he was. We as guys can look at Michael and know that we've been in love.
right,
We act just like Michael did with
yeah,
her. Oh yeah,
exactly.
I'll get you on that ship. Oh yeah, hey, I'll defend you. You know,
Uh-huh,
and so it was people after over an hour. Watch it,
right.
watch it. You won't be disappointed.
Well, everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Steve Lawson, I want to say thank you for making this movie and for making a film company, as somebody called it, like a new Roger Corman type company where they're making, movie after movie and churning it out. But unfortunately, it's not like Roger because Roger farmed it out to other filmmakers. If Steve Lawson did that, that would be cool. I think at some point maybe he will.
Yeah,
But I'm glad that he's out there making movie after movie and creating something that he's happy with, whether or not other people like he's just gonna keep making it and it's gonna
oh,
keep selling and it's gonna keep getting out
he's
there.
gonna keep making it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
if you make another pirate movie, Steven, give me a call. Call me.
call
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 me.
call Captain Mango.
Call me.
Uh
I can get to England. I'm going
yeah,
to
you
Ireland. I can
yeah.
get to England.
See, yeah, we'll go from right from Ireland to England and then be
I'll
in his
just make a
next.
whole tour. I'll shoot a movie in Scotland and one in Ireland and one in England, and then maybe not even come back home at that point.
God, at this point, I would love to go to those areas and see all the indie filmmakers making their horror films and everything out there
Yeah,
because to me, that's really freaking cool.
I've got two good friends from Key West that are in. They started out their trip in Ireland, and then a week there, and then I think they're a week in. They're in Scotland right now, and they're putting pictures on Facebook of the castles and stuff, and I'm like, oh man, I never been. I've been to Edinburgh, Scotland. That was it. I never made it out of the city though, but
I think
I've been to Edinburgh.
I
So
think I've seen a couple castles. I think one of them was in Virginia, or something, and then I've
well,
seen a couple, but
I just shot at the castle. I did a medieval fantasy movie. I played an evil overseer at the castle up in Berkeley Springs.
cool.
That was I lobbied heavy for that role because I wanted to be in that kind of a series, and I wanted to shoot in that castle. So
There you go. You got two birds
yeah,
with one stone.
yeah,
Um,
we got to cut this off because my screen is going dark.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
running out.
everybody, I hope
So
you guys enjoyed this. And thank you, Jesse. Thank you once again, Steve Lawson, for making this movie. And hope you guys enjoyed this. Join me tomorrow for a brand new episode. Till
and
then, everybody,
thanks for
bye.
having me on. It's always a fun time.
Yeah, definitely. All
Everybody.
right. Bye, everybody.